How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the DMTS radio show. Today I'm here with Claire Love, and we are sponsored by Atlantic Restoration. You can contact Atlantic Restoration, located in New Britain, Connecticut. How's it going, Claire?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Yes, yes. So, like I was saying, I heard a lot about you, read a lot about you, and I wanted to get a little bit into your journey of music, but let's start with your name. Is this your stage name? Is it your personal name?
It's a blend of both because my first name, which we're not going to say right now, everyone's called me Claire for short. So I kind of just switched it up a little bit and added a middle piece because of Amore. I used to use Amore as Love, but then I just switched it to Love and I used my regular last name. So Claire Love Gaxon.
And that's the full stage name?
Mm-hmm. Use the whole thing.
Okay, nice. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from.
Okay, well, I'm initially from Hartford, Connecticut. I pretty much grew up here, lived here for a while. In terms of music, I went to school for it, but my love for it started when I was little. Like, my whole family sings. Everybody from church to I have pastors, people that do R&B. So for me, the love of music was just a natural thing. And then we all know in the 90s, Mariah Carey was lit. Yeah. So from her, I was like the only 4-year-old with a cassette tape singing Mariah. So they're like, I think we're on to something. Then with Aaliyah, she pretty much generalized like my style and my love.
Yeah.
With dance, I started then, and then I was really shy. I wouldn't talk when I was little. So I really loved music, but if I had to sing, I just wouldn't. So from there, it became like choir, and then I have been writing since I could even spell.
So you write your own lyrics as well?
Yeah, and I work with other writers too, but primarily now that I'm older, I'm just exploring writing more for myself. But yeah, so it started with dance, and then from dance, it kind of blossomed into more music, and then I also did a lot of acting, so it's kind of like all around entertainment.
That's nice. So let's go into the process of you had your associates and your bachelor's in music business,
music industry studies, and then I went over to music business.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Okay. So initially, like when you first go away to school, you have everyone telling you what you should do, or you can't do this, or you should do that. So for me, like I initially went to school for gen ed. And then I was also supposed to go to school for fashion, but every time I tried to go away, something would happen and it didn't work. And I accidentally ran into this associate program. Like, I was just going to write music with a friend, and then I overheard some girls talking about the new music program. And then they just randomly came over and started talking to me. So it was really weird.
Yes,
but then from there, I just switched schools, registered for it. I finished, and then I went off for my bachelor's. So it kind of was like everything else I tried to pursue just didn't work. And then I kind of just stumbled into the programs. And then once I got into the next program, I like fell in love with the school. So I definitely went to go. And then from there, that's pretty much been what it was.
Kind of took off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a passion. This is something that you love to do, correct?
And it took me a while to really fall into that because, like a lot of people aren't entertainment friendly. They're like, oh, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be a teacher. Oh, this might not work out, but I think it's really important to just find what you love and go for it regardless of what the odds are.
Absolutely, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So tell us about radio hosts. What station? Where do you get that background from?
School. My first internship was with a radio station because I was kind of like up in the air about what I wanted to do because outside of just vocal training and doing things like that, I wanted to also learn the business because I feel like it's important.
Yes.
But then I wanted to start exploring different rims of music and business and not necessarily record label or publishing, copywriting, things like that. So my first internship was with a radio station, and then I did some work with them for a while. 1480 AM, which is now 97.5.
Okay.
So I was there for a few months, and then from there, I kind of just like wrapped it up. Like I was like, I really like it, but I was so focused on moving south that I didn't really pursue much here. And then I stumbled into another program because one of my friends had a radio connection, and she was like, I'm doing my own show, blah, 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 blah. I think you'll be good with this because you have history in this and etc. And I'm just like, okay, I'll try it. And then from there, I met with a guy. And for me, I just wanted to do like a co-hosting show.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, here's an hour, you have a segment, run it. And I'm like,
By yourself?
yep. So
Nice.
I had to relearn how to use, because you know, every radio station is different
Yes.
in terms of the board operation. So I had to like reteach myself how to do that, learn all the equipment in there, learn how to record, edit. And basically, when I'm on air, I'm doing everything by myself.
Everything by yourself.
Yes. So from board operation to song selection to topic selection.
And it's
to
all
being
live.
on air, yep. So, and once I started to really do that, it reminded me of my love for radio.
Mm.
So yeah.
No, and not only that, all that knowledge that you gained from that basically didn't that put your confidence level on a higher level,
Yeah,
right?
it was like I didn't realize how good I was at it until it was just like, here,
Yeah.
do it, and I'm like, okay.
And you got it done.
Yeah. So I feel like I didn't really think much about it, but sometimes things that you love and things that happen to just come across are things that are meant for you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you're pursuing something and it doesn't work, or there's like a segue and you end up in a different position, sometimes it brings you back to the love that you initially had,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be there.
Absolutely right. No, I agree 100%. And that right there shows that. So you also have some sort of inspiration. You said that your family, you was brought up in singing. It was all around you.
Yeah.
Other than like Aaliyah and Mariah, you said Mariah Carey, right?
Yeah.
Other than them two, who was around you that actually inspired you to really want to do this, like as a career?
I would say initially it was my mom growing up, but then I don't know, it kind of just became something within myself that I had to accept that I loved. And it's not like pursuing music is not a regular thing, you know what I mean? So it took me a while to accept that and stop running from who I was as a person. Like, if this is your love and this is your passion, regardless of what's around, you have to do it, because no matter how far you run from it, you're going to come right back to it. So it kind of became from my mother to Mariah Carey, Aaliyah, and Kelly Rowland, left her out, to myself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So.
And it's like a full circle.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like I said, when you are running from something that is for you, or a part of you, there's no getting away from it. You're going to stumble, boom, right back into it. So it took me a while to really get into that. And then once I owned who I was as a person, I'm kind of just like, that's what I do.
No, so that's nice. I like that. So we got radio host. So now dancing, because what I want to do is I want to go through the full process of what basically developed you to who you are now. So now we move into dancing. Where does the dancing come from, and what do you do now?
Okay, so I started dancing when I was 3, and then from there I kind of like, I dropped out of the organization that I was in because I moved away. And then from there, I kind of just was doing a lot of choreography on my own, and like I said, Aaliyah and Mariah Carey, Destiny's Child back in the day, like, you know, learning the routines and stuff. Then I went back into like hip hop classes and things like that to help develop my talent. And then, like I said, I stumbled into a program. I was looking for a gym membership one day with one of my friends, and I overheard them say that they were looking for dance instructors. And the guy that was speaking happened to be my best friend at the time's uncle. So he was like, he ended up talking to me, and then he told me to go upstairs and talk to a woman that was up there. And once I talked to her, I interned for about, I'm saying maybe 2 months. And then I ended up getting a position with them, and I started working with inner city youth, ages 3 to 18, with primarily hip hop and stepping. And from there, it's been about 6 years. I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it.
Yep.
Great.
Because I think it's important to inspire you to be creative.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times they don't have that creative outlet at home, or they
role model.
Yeah, like it forces you to be a role model, doing something that you love, inspiring them to develop a talent in something that they love.
Absolutely.
So I still teach classes.
That's great. And you've been stumbling all over the place.
Yeah.
Every opportunity that you had, it was like you stumbled into it, pursuing something else, but you stumbled into what you now, and now you also are involved in you did some acting, right? Or you went to school and learned some acting, or did you do some acting outside of school as well?
I did some outside of school as well, but primarily it was in school.
Mhm.
And then once I got like a national certification for it, I kind of did a little bit outside of school, but I shifted my focus from that to primarily dance and music.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So your main focus is basically R&B, cause you got like a R&B pop mixture a little bit, right?
Yeah, for my single, Leaving With Me, that song is,
Yes.
it's primarily pop with trap elements in it,
Yeah.
but my essential love is hardcore R&B.
Mm.
R&B, hip hop, little gospel, like,
Yeah.
mix it up a little bit, but
Okay.
primarily R&B.
Nice, nice. So tell us a little bit about the single "Leaving With Me." We was actually just playing it on the radio station right before you came. Tell us a little bit about that song, the meaning of the song, and when you was writing that song.
Okay, so when I was writing the song, it was primarily like an idea. I listened to the instrumental, I'm like, well, what does it make me feel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to connect to it, and then you can be able to develop an idea. So when I heard it, I'm like, it kind of just sounds like, you're out, you're dancing, you're having a good time. So I used that to kind of construct the lyrical content, and then I ended up developing a hook, Leaving With Me.
Yeah.
So.
Leaving with me, leaving with me, leaving with me, leaving here with me. Had such a long week. I came out with my friends to party. Seen you watching me since I came inside the party. This was simple, not complicated. After the party, you're leaving with me. And
So do you have a project following that track?
Currently, I'm working on writing in other singles. So yeah, soon there'll be other songs out, but I don't set to release my project till next year.
So how many years total have you been pursuing this career as a musician?
I would say since I started school, because I did a lot of background, like writing for other artists and hooks and things like that.
Yeah.
But it took me until about a year ago to be like, you know what, like now it's time to get up front and center and just do what you love to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say like 6 years.
6 years, nice. And how's it been? Like the struggle and the balance of just
Challenging, because as I said, like musical production and performing art, being an artist is really challenging because it's not the norm. Like you might hear a few people that be like, I rap or I sing, but to really do it, it's a process.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not going to be all like rainbows and popsicles the whole way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times it's like you might even start with a large circle and then your circle gets smaller, or because you have to rely on other people for a lot of different parts. It's not just write a song and it's done. Like you got to go through the instrumentation process. You have to go through writing, recording, mixing, mastering, and then deciding what you want to do with it. Do you just want to promote or do you want to do videos? So it's like, it's a long process for just one song. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
People are just like, oh, we haven't heard an album yet, but you have to think about all the work that goes into that one individual song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
And you have to be like really focused in order to make it happen, because as I said, it's not just you as an individual. You're working with a lot of other different people. And even if you're not writing your own music, then that's another input,
Yes, yes,
So
yes. No,
it's a lot, but if it's what you want to do, you just gotta do it.
you gotta do it, and it's good, it's good that you went and learned. I think it's really important that you went and learned the business part of it, because a lot of people do not know the business part of it, and it's kind of like they're just wandering, blindly.
Yep.
How important it is to you to actually, get yourself out there and inspire other people. Like, because I know you mentioned earlier about it's very important to, uplift or inspire the next generation. How important that is to you. Have any siblings, any kids?
I don't have any children yet. Once I have a husband, maybe we'll talk about that. Siblings, I am the youngest child. My
Okay.
sisters are old. One was like 18 when I was born. The other one was like 14. So, yeah, not really. Work with a lot of children.
You do.
So, being able, especially from being in the position that I've been in with coaching and teaching and creative expression for the past 6 years, you get to see them grow. Because you might get a child that's 3, and then by the time you see them a few years later with them coming every single year. You get to really see their growth and also see that the way that they look at you like a role model. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So I think it's extremely important to inspire the next generation, especially when it comes to, excuse me, especially when it comes to art, because as you know, art is dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even
yeah.
in schools, a lot of things are being removed, and
Yes.
they're teaching more of like core classes. But you just never know what a kid is going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know what they're going to become. So I think it's really important to inspire them to be creative and to learn about themselves through the arts.
No, that's serious. That's serious, and it's real inspiring to actually meet people like yourself. When we started this platform, we've been meeting a lot of different people, and the experiences that I had with these new artists and entrepreneurs that I've been interviewing is I've been learning myself. I've been gaining a lot of different, from boxers to entrepreneurs to musicians, and it's helped me grow. So, well, what makes you grow as a person?
I find that what helped me the most was learning myself and not allowing other people's perspectives and ideas and opinions to shape who I am as a person, but truly staying true to myself, focusing on who I am and what I want. As you learn about yourself, you develop naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say that that's one thing, and also education, because you can have a passion about something, you can like doing something, but if you don't educate yourself on it, how can you grow as an individual with no education?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So I would say it's a combination of self-love, self-acceptance, and education.
You get a lot of this, right?
And that's what almost prevented me from pursuing music in the first place, was hearing family and friends like, oh, you're good at this, you should be this, you should be X. And then sometimes when you get so stuck in what everyone else is saying, you forget to listen to that voice inside. So I feel like that's kind of what hindered me for a while. But in that hindrance was also a learning process happening. So everything happens for a reason,
Yeah, yeah. And are you a spiritual person?
Yes.
Do you go to church?
Christian.
Christian?
Yeah. I don't go as often as I should, but I do maintain my personal relationship with God through reading and prayer.
You have people you work with, videographers, producers.
Producers, yes. I have 2 producers that I work with, primarily one, and then I do a lot with experimenting with different people from all over the U.S. through online. But primarily in Connecticut, I work with trap beats. For writing, it's usually me or Alana McKinney. Yeah, it's pretty much it for now.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's pretty much just me.
Okay. And did you and is your lane only singing, or do you do some type of hip hop?
I dance. What do you do?
No, as far as like lyrics.
Oh, I
Like-
can, but I'm trying to
You
stay out of that
lane,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay, a funny story about that is like when I first started writing, because I write poetry too, but I never really share it.
Okay.
But when you write poetry, it's similar to rapping, you know what
Yes,
I mean?
it is.
So it's easy for me, but it's fun. But at the same time, it's not what I want to pursue. And then like I recorded a few tracks before, and they're like, you sound similar to Nicki. You got that Nicki vibe, but your lyrics are different. I was like, not even trying to go that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a rapper.
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah.
I gotta write a few bars, I will.
Mhm.
If you need some help, hit me up. But yeah, no.
Where is your direction for music and lyrics, and what type of music that you're really trying to give to the world?
Well, my love is with R&B and hip hop, but I don't like to generalize or categorize myself because I love everything. You know what I mean? So primarily with my single, it's pop because that's what's trending now, and
Yeah.
everyone wants to hear it. It gets people to connect and to vibe. R&B is my love, but it depends on how I feel that day. I pretty much like writing hip hop, but it's not my favorite
What's
to
your favorite?
do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's why I try to work with other artists, because your strengths and weaknesses can really work well with other people. Like, say for
Absolutely.
instance, I'm good at hooks, but you're good at verses. If we collab, we can have a hit. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
when it comes to writing for me, I kind of just write everything. It can either be based on something I've seen or
Gotcha.
something that I feel or something that I want to try. Like, I don't really generalize or categorize myself in terms of that. I like
Got you,
to
got you. So you get inspired by things you see,
see
things you
things
hear,
that I feel,
read.
things,
Yep.
pretty much anything.
Do you do a lot of travel outside of Connecticut to pursue, your music career?
Primarily the tri-state area.
Okay.
Once I get through promoting this song, basically more so here in the tri-state, I'll branch out a little bit more and go south. But for the most part, I think it's very important to do what you love where you live and then branch out. You can't just like roll out to Atlanta.
I agree.
They be like, where are you from? And nobody knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree.
yeah, like right now my focus is promoting the single. Outside of it playing in Connecticut, it's playing out in Philly.
Nice,
So I'm
nice.
just promoting it everywhere, and as opportunities present, I'm there. Okay, so the thing I feel about Connecticut is I feel like there's not as much like opportunities for artists to grow here.
Got it.
Now, if you think about it, we're closest to New York and Mass, Boston, you know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
But I feel like it's harder here, number one, because there's not a lot of creative outlooks. Our radio market is small.
Yep.
And number three, the attitude of most of the artists that are here is, from what I've experienced and observed, is more of that crabs in a barrel mentality.
Yes,
Like everybody
yes.
trying to get to the top, everybody can't go.
And pulling each other.
Yeah, it's like, but at the end of the day, like, if you stay in your lane, you're good at this and you're good at that, like, collaboration and community can help everyone develop and achieve more. So I
Absolutely.
feel like that's the biggest issue in Connecticut is a lot of people don't work together.
Yeah.
Or like, say for instance, you do something good and someone else is inquiring, nobody wants to tell what they did. So how
Yeah.
can other people grow
Yes.
if they don't know?
You're
You know what I mean?
absolutely right.
So I feel like
Absolutely.
that's one of the biggest challenges in Connecticut is the artist market being smaller, the radio markets being smaller, the crabs in the barrel mentality, and just the lack of creative outlets. Mainly the change of attitude here.
Yeah.
The change of attitude, and then more of, I don't think it's more of a specific place or specific thing. I feel like we have to change the attitude as artists, as creative beings, not just musicians, but creative beings, period, to have that community attitude so that people are able to grow. Or you might, instead of being selfish or to yourself, like I said, you might find somebody that does something that you don't know how to do or does something better that you can learn from.
Yeah.
So without that change and that sense of community, like, that's the first step.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
is going to change if everybody is with that attitude
With
of
that attitude.
crabs in a barrel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right.
And then I feel like it's more of expansion here because it's small. So as you know, like we have like Hot 93.7, it's like all the same little things, but there's not expansion. So how can there really be growth?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're definitely right.
So I feel like it's first a change in attitude, is company growth and expansion, which will create more places for people to share. And
Yeah.
that's the basis of
No,
it.
you're absolutely
I feel
right.
like once that happens, we could do a lot more. But I think there's also the competition with New York being right next door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's known for entertainment.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of hard to compete with that.
And then Connecticut is right here, and it's good you said that because I look at it like there's a lot of independent artists in Connecticut, and there's a lot of singers like yourself that can sing. You know, there's a lot of artists who have lyrics. There's a lot of producers who's great. Like we have the people to do it.
It's
You know, it's the
lack of
mindset.
community
It's
and
the community
mindset.
coming together. You know, do you think it's a trust issue, or you think it's a selfish issue?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, because like I said, like say for instance, you do something really well and you're starting to make moves, but you can see that this person is good or equally as good, and if you let them know your secrets, you might fear that you
Take
might
it
not
away and you
get
don't
where
get
get where you're trying to go. But at the end of the day, if you're supposed to be at the top, regardless, you're gonna get there. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So I feel like it's that lack of
Yeah, I agree.
community and like sharing.
Unity. Yep.
Or now we have social media, so a lot of it is that, like, sometimes people will either look at or watch what the next person is doing, and it can educate them. But like I said, without a sense of education, nobody's going to grow.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I agree 100%. I look at Connecticut like we can actually build our own Connecticut sound and movement, because if we're all independent artists and the job of an artist, an actress, photographer, videographer, our job is to basically entertain.
Yeah.
You know, and if we can come together
Together,
and
you
move
can do
together,
that.
we can put together the best events because we're going to entertain the people, the consumers, you know, and then in return, we grow, we elevate, and we bring that scene here. You know, I always tell other artists is that when you look at the industry now,
It's changed.
It's changed. But when you look at their relationship,
Yep, that's what we're missing.
they even though they
Yeah.
show us that they're beefing or they're doing this, off the cameras, them people eat together.
Is that
They
right?
take care of each other because it's an industry
Sure
that they're
is.
showing us. This
Yep.
this is what's going on. All we have to do as independent artists is build that industry.
Build the connection.
Build that
and
connection.
Have that attitude of community.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is one of the biggest divides here.
Mm.
Is that lack of community and selfishness.
Yeah.
Because like you said in the industry, like okay, they might be beef here or there, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's an industry.
It's an industry.
Like you can see these two people beefing, but they on the track, they collecting their coins.
Yeah, they
you
getting
know
their
what I
money.
mean?
You know,
So
that's
it's-
how it is. That's
It's
how
the
it
lack
is.
of community here, but I have seen like some growth. I'm not even gonna lie. Over the past year,
You're
there's
right.
a lot more like events,
Yep.
pop-up shops,
Yep. Collaborations, like a
yeah,
lot.
a lot
No, you're
more.
right.
Like it's a lot more.
A couple years they've been doing that.
Yeah,
It's
but
new.
I'm saying like it's more prominent now, like because there's more outlets for artists to
For
really go
artists.
to and to share with, you know.
No, I
So,
agree. I agree.
feel like it's changing slowly here, but it starts with that change of attitude.
hmm
So,
Yeah, change of attitude is key. That's the number one thing.
Or like a lot of people might act Hollywood, like okay, because people know you here in Connecticut, but at the end of the day, this is where you're from.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. They should
So
know.
they should know you.
Yeah.
And in order to succeed and for other people to succeed, you gotta work together as a unit.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta move together.
And I'm glad that that I can hear that from you, you know, or the people, you know, to hear it from a woman, you know, because they always hear that from men, you know, but to hear it from a woman, to hear it from a singer, artist.
It's like me personally, like it's one of the things that I learned because initially when I started like my writing process, I was working with a team of people and then they just disappeared and started doing other things. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But they're still in the same spot that I left them. So obviously, like what you're doing is not working because you're quick to do what you want to do and not what's best for the unit. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like you could be the best engineer alive, but if you're not working with anyone, what is it showing?
Absolutely.
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Not producing.
Yeah. How's your work? Where's it
You
showing?
need
Yeah.
other people in
Yeah.
order. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can produce beats, but who's going to use them?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I feel like people have to think ahead and not just in that one set step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're a singer but you're not singing, you're a rapper but you're not rapping, like then what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Except for with that, like there's other components to it. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no, I agree,
You can
I
write,
agree.
you can build your craft that way, but in terms of like artistic things that are one thing, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like producing or engineering. For that, you have to work with other people.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
No, that's amazing.
it's the lack of community. I'm telling you, if the
Yeah.
attitude changed, a lot of things would change here.
I agree.
And I feel like New York is not going to go nowhere. So at the end of the day, like it's going to be there, but you have to do what you love at home
At home.
and branch out.
Yes, yes. It
So-
starts at home first.
Yeah, and you got to have that positive attitude because if your attitude sucks, you're not going to get nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's powerful. And what, you know, any advice that you can give anybody out there? I was gonna say, you know, any girls, because I just, you know, I don't get a lot of females on the show, and there's a lot of girls out there that need someone to look up to as well. You know, what type of advice can you give them, or just anyone, you know, that's trying to pursue something in their life?
I would tell them to stay true to who they are and not let anyone change that and to just go for it. Because like we said earlier, there's always voices, there's always opinions, there's always someone saying what you should do or could do, shouldn't or should do. But at the end of the day, you have to listen to that voice inside and pursue what makes you happy and just stay focused and don't give up.
Nice. And it was a pleasure for you to come down here and us sit together and communicate. I like to do my interviews like this, like because you know I haven't met you. This is the first
this
time.
is our first time meeting.
So you know the vibe and you know the communication and the comfort level. You know this is what I like to show people. You know when people get the inside story of an artist or of anyone, they gain a different type of connection as well with the music.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important, and I just want to thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that's coming up, any performances or any new projects, or is it just the music? Can you let them know where to get it, where to find it?
Well, as you know, my song title is Leave It With Me. You can find it on all major retailers. You can find it on SoundCloud, you know, places like iTunes, Google Play, things like that. And You can stay connected to me through Facebook at clairlyme Gadsden, Instagram and Twitter at clairlyme.
Okay. Nice. Thank you very much again.
Thanks for having me.
And for my supporters out there, I want to thank you very much for supporting the DMTS Radio Show. Be sure to download the free DMTS Radio Music app. You can find Leaving With Me single up there. And thank you very much.
Somebody